I'm Nick Schiffer and I own nsbuilders. I get to work with a team of wildly talented craftsmen building and renovating some of the coolest homes in Boston.
So this here is a drawer front for the closet system in our Weston Master Suite renovation. We started with a 1-inch MDF substrate, which we glued up a couple inches of solid oak. We're going to be adding an integrated pull to this, so we wanted that pull to be completely in solid wood and not in any of the MDF. So we then veneered these in our vacuum bag using one sheet so that everything was grain matched, and we could take a look at that over here. As you can see, the grain runs through each drawer front consistently, and also it lines up here in the center. Now that we've checked everything, it all looks good. We're going to take these pieces over to the saw and begin the process of adding the integrated pull. The first cut we're going to make in our integrated pull is going to be a score cut. Because we're cutting across the grain, one of the great features of sliding table saws is they have this scoring blade. What that does is it spins counter to the main blade, which will allow us to make a shallow cut in the veneer here without having any tear out. Another important piece is this sacrificial block here. What that will allow me to do is pass through this cut without getting any tear out in our edge banding. With grain matching, it's very important that we make all of our cuts in the exact right places. If we make one mistake, it doesn't only ruin the piece that we're working on, but it ruins all the drawer fronts and we have to start all over again. We're going to make two cuts this way, one for each end of our integrated pull. So we'll make the first cut about 1 inch in, and then the second another inch, so that our cutout space becomes 1 inch. So now that we have our two start and stop cuts, we're going to take it over to another saw with the dado stack to remove all this material here in the middle to make it easier on our router bits. So the last step in our integrated pull is to route in the final shape. We're going to do that in 2 or 3 passes, gradually increasing the cut. As this is solid oak, it's a little bit easier on the tooling and it will give us a nice clean cut. So I noticed I was getting a little more tear out on that front edge than what I would like. So I'm going to go ahead and add some tape to it to minimize that tear out. So we ended up taking a few more passes on our shaper for our profile than we initially planned on. This was to allow a shallower cut, but a much cleaner cut as we started to get a little bit of chipping, which wasn't ideal. We did leave a square edge. Because these are going to be a finger pull, we don't want it to be too sharp in there and cut your finger. So we'll go ahead and round those edges over with a light ease once we start our sanding process. So now that our integrated pull is cut, we're going to assemble this one last time to make sure that everything works. We use these little spacers in between all of our drawer fronts so that we can get our ideal reveals and make sure that everything fits perfectly. So now that we've laid out our closet built-in, we're ready to take it apart, sand it, and then send it off to the finisher. Thing here in the middle that sucked. Don't put that in the book. Yeah, here we go. I can already see it. Basic. So the last step in our I said 4 times. I say final too much. Another important equation to